I was joking about my radio face, but I should have put a little makeup on.
And we want to thank One Tom Plumber for sponsoring our KRIM Community Spotlight program. Good morning, Rim Country. Chris Higgins in the studio this morning in the Sawmill Theater Movie Complex. Hope you're having a great Thursday morning, or as we like to call it here, Friday Eve. That's right, tomorrow is Friday, and hope everyone is looking forward to a beautiful weekend here in Rim Country. Well, this morning we are going to be talking about trails with the Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction Group, and from the organization we have Director of Trails, Joan Backman. Good morning, Joan.
Good morning, thank you for having us.
Oh, you're so welcome. And Director of Grants, Michael Browning. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, thanks for having us here.
Again, you are so welcome. Thank you both for taking time to come in this morning to share with our listeners and viewers. If you're listening on the radio, know that you can watch our live stream of our Community Spotlight program on our KRIM Radio Facebook page or KRIM 96.3 FM YouTube channel. But we appreciate, and I appreciate, and I know the community does, so many members, organizations, appreciate everything Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction has done over the years. There's just so much. And where we couldn't even start, you know, if we wanted to, oh my goodness, how many hour program would we need if we wanted to give the complete history and everything that's been done? A lot more than a half an hour.
Yes.
But there's a website, psfuelreduction.org, that you can go to that has the history, just all the information you would ever want to know and more about the Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction. And today, again, we're going to be talking about trails. And some of you that might be new to the area or not that familiar with the Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction might be wondering, wait a second, fuel reduction and trails, what do they have to do with each other? So, Joan, can you just give a brief explanation of the benefit of trail development in the Rim Country?
Sure. I mean, when I moved here, I heard the name Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction. I had no idea what that meant. It is reducing the possibility of catastrophic wildfires around the communities of Pine and Strawberry. Mm-hmm. And so we've had a number of different initiatives. We run the brush pit that's off the control road, and from spring to fall, it's closed now for the winter. We've funded some brush clearing, fuel breaks around the towns. So trails fits in with that perfectly because we started by building trails in those fuel breaks, but now we've expanded on, and it allows, in the event of a fire, for the firefighters to get to the site that much quicker. I mean, if you've ever tried to navigate your way through brush, where you're crawling on your hands and knees, that takes forever, but if a trail is there, you can get there quickly. So that's part of how trails fits in. Michael, you want to add any more to that?
Yeah, I'd add that during the West Fire controlled burn back in September and October, the firefighters were using our trails for access out there to help them build a bulldozer and hand fire line. So that came out in the daily reports. We're using the trails, we're torching brush along them. So they did their expected function.
So you really got to see that firsthand.
Yeah, we did, both during and afterward, yes.
Yes, and I don't want to get off on a tangent, but that was such a beneficial burn. And that really helped to increase or help protect the communities of Pine and Strawberry, reduce at least the threat.
We feel safer.
Yes.
No one was evacuated, no homes were lost, so it was a very successful burn.
I know, that I can't say enough good things about the firefighters, the team that managed that burn. For that reason, Michael, like you said, no evacuations, no structures were lost. Obviously, no lives lost, no one hurt. But to manage a fire to that extent, that's amazing. I mean, with all the variables and factors, the weather, just everything, and to keep the community safe and everyone safe.
Yeah, some real skill went into that.
Yes, yeah, people might not realize just, like you said, all the skill, the knowledge, the expertise to be able to do that. So big thank you to them. Trails, goodness, you have been so busy with trails.
And going back to the benefits of trails,
Yes.
beyond just the fire protection, I mean, it's a huge economic impact to not only Pine Strawberry, but Payson as well. You know, people are coming from long distances to hike our trails, to mountain bike on our trails. And the more we build, the more they'll come. So,
And I know you've mentioned in the past, Joan, when you've been on the program, also the improved quality of life for residents, for the residents of Pine Strawberry. You've given over the years so many examples of locals that maybe they weren't hikers, but something happened, they had a health issue, were told, hey, you need to get out, be more active, and they got out on the trails, because the trails, there are maybe some more advanced or trails that are a little bit harder, but there are also trails that almost anyone can hike or they can walk.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. We built a fire interpretive trail right around Pine Trailhead starting in 2020. It's 0.4 of a mile. It's a very gentle grade. And to our surprise, it's actually the most used trail around Pine and Strawberry.
Wow.
People who maybe just stopping by out of curiosity on their way through town, they see the sign for Pine Trailhead and they go out there, and that loop is right there. It's gravel surfaced and it's easy to walk, and it has signs along the way explaining fuel reduction projects. So that's been tremendously successful.
Wow.
It's been a lot of work for us because it's flooded out multiple times and we've had to go fix it.
So now, all of the trails that have been built, again, Pine Strawberry fuel reduction, your group putting so many hours, so much time into this, but two components that have made all these trails possible that we really want to focus on today. Number one, volunteers. So volunteerism and the people that have volunteered their time to build the trails, and also grants, money to fund, you know, equipment, just everything else that's necessary. So with volunteerism, approximately how many volunteers do you have that come out and help on trails?
right now, we're averaging about 20 per.
Wow.
We get together every Tuesday morning and the last Saturday morning of each month. We're averaging about 20.
About
It
20.
used to be 7 or 8 of us.
Wow.
And as the word has grown, more people have joined, and so it's wonderful. And last year, we broke a record. We had over 3,500 volunteer hours during 2024, and that was a huge number over prior years.
So just hearing that number, it sounds like a lot of hours. It is a lot of hours. What does that equate to, though, money-wise?
Volunteer hours are credited by the Forest Service at $33 an hour, just nominal value. So that's close to $115,000 of work equivalent that was done last year.
Wow.
And just for perspective, that's more than the whole Tonto National Forest budget for trails, which is in the range of $60,000. So it's meaningful, it's an impact.
It is, and that's inspiring. I believe inspiring to people that volunteer, because sometimes you might feel like, oh, I'm just one person. I can only do, a few hours. I can't contribute that much. They don't need me. It's just not worth it to them. And that's not true, because collectively, 3,500 hours.
Yeah, and I don't want people to think, if you show up as a volunteer, we expect you to be there every Tuesday and every Saturday. I mean, it's show up if it works in your schedule. We work about 3.5, sometimes 4 hours. And then we gather around afterwards and bring out our camp chairs and have a little social hour, chat session.
Oh, nice.
So it's a big camaraderie factor.
Yeah, it's a rotating cast of characters, probably 50 or 60 in all. Some of whom are there every day, and some just show up when they're in from Phoenix or wherever.
Wow. So it is really about community.
And
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is a community.
And it's all levels of, physical capabilities. You don't have to be He-Man to be out there. I mean, I'm out there clipping brush, you know. So there's others that love to move big rocks. So it's whatever works for you.
Mm-hmm. So if somebody is interested
Mm-hmm.
in volunteering on the trails, working on the trails, what is the best way for them to contact you
Okay.
or to
Yeah,
go about that?
there's 3 ways.
Okay.
You can send me an email at trails@psfuelreduction.org. Give
Okay.
me your name and then I'll send you the schedule. There is a volunteer link or a get involved link on our website.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can indicate out of a whole list of things that you're interested in trails. And then the third way is on our website, psfuelreduction.org. There is a calendar, and you can just pop up the calendar and see where we're going to be on the next Tuesday or the last Saturday of the month.
Okay, and I believe at one time I did go to the website and say that I was interested in trails, and now I receive emails from your organization giving updates and a schedule of when, for that month, the upcoming month, there will be trail work being done. So it looks like the Cletus Ray Road, meet at the end of Cletus Ray Road, that's where a lot of the work in February is going to be done?
Yes.
Correct, yeah.
All right, so some of the trails, are there some trails that you want to highlight or talk about today that you've recently completed or are working on? Would you like to do that?
Sure.
Okay.
What we started back in December.
December.
Is a brand new trail
Mm.
called Two Ravens, and it starts off of Hardscrabble Road about halfway up to the top of Hardscrabble Mesa. And like I said, brand new trail, it's beautiful. It goes through the forest at first, and then you get out onto some area that's lesser forested, but then you've got a fabulous view of the rim and pine and Hill Branch Point.
Oh, wow. And does that go to the north off of Hardscrabble or to the south?
To the south.
To the south,
and then
okay.
South and east.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually past the southwest corner of town and
Mhm.
Pine. And then it heads down, will head down to the Arizona Trail.
Okay.
And that'll finally complete the 21-mile loop around Pine that we've been planning for 15 years or so. It'll happen in the next few weeks.
Wow, that's exciting.
It is exciting.
I know when we first moved up to the Rim Country, we lived in Pine, towards the end of Hardscrabble, where it turns to Bradshaw and up there. But we would go out, and the trail that went up to Strawberry, or the one that kind of went right along the ridge there, duck down. We
Mhm.
loved doing that one. And I do remember there was a trail that went to the south as well. I don't know if that's still there.
Yeah, that's Walnut Canyon
Okay.
to Oak Springs Trail. It's still there. But
Okay.
the Two Ravens kind of goes in the more easterly direction. And
Wow.
you know, Walnut is a little steep at times, but
Mhm.
Two Ravens is well designed. Michael was part of the team that laid it out, and there's no terribly steep
Wow.
up or
Yeah, I
down.
mean, if you wanted to do a loop around Pine today, you'd have to go on the Walnut Trail, which is a beautiful trail for fall leaves, but part of it runs in a creek bottom.
Oh.
So it is not mountain bike friendly, it's not trail runner friendly. It's a rough but beautiful trail. We're cutting off about 4 miles using Two Ravens Trail as compared to the current Walnut route.
Wow.
And it'll all be sustainable trail, smooth, rideable.
Wow. That's great. So what other trails?
Well, you mentioned the Pine Strawberry Trail.
Yes.
And that's been around for years, but
Mhm.
in the last couple years, we've done 5 reroutes.
We
on it.
rerouted 2 miles out of 4.
Yeah.
So it's almost a new trail
Yeah.
Wow.
compared to
So
what it was.
It used to go through down a lot of ravines that you'd go down and then you'd have to climb up out of. So now we've leveled it out much
Mhm.
more, and it's a great trail now.
So that is definitely a focus. That's something that the group has been focusing on, because there have been trails out there, but I guess they weren't planned maybe for mountain biking, for other purposes.
Probably mountain bikes had a big impact. In the past, trails tended to go up and downhill a great deal more. The grades were sometimes at 10 or 15%, which is not considered sustainable by today's standards. So now we try to hold them to 5% grade. It stops erosion. We don't have to go out there and maintain them. And it makes it a lot easier for bikers and hikers who really don't want to pedal up steep grades.
So not only are the new trails that you're doing, are they more accessible and
They are.
usable
Yes.
to all these different groups, but the word you just used, they're also more sustainable.
Right.
So they don't erode, they're not breaking down, thus not requiring as much maintenance, where in the past, if it's just been the Forest Service before pine strawberry fuel reduction, if Forest Service had to maintain these trails, it was just too much.
Yeah, you can see it around Pace and some of the older trails that are built on former roads. They'll have grades of 15 and 20%, and they develop a ditch in the middle, so you have to walk along the edge. If you change that to a 5% grade, the water just flows gently across the tread, and it doesn't erode.
Wow.
Because realistically, we can't get out there and maintain dozens of miles of trails that aren't designed to survive.
Again, if you're just tuning in or just started watching on our KRIM Radio Facebook page, we're talking to Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction Group, Director of Trails, Joan Backman, and Director of Grants, Michael Browning. And it's just amazing. I love having you guys in, talking with the Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction, just about everything that you're doing in the area because of the just multiple benefits it has, again, for residents, for visitors. It's just wonderful. And to make the community safer when it comes to wildfire. Grant funding, that again is a big part of making all this possible and getting all this done. So what does that look like, Michael?
Well, there's two ways we build trails. One is with volunteers, which Joan was discussing. That doesn't really cost money. I mean, as I mentioned, the volunteers are credited at $33 an hour, so we're working in kind. The only money we're really spending is for tools and diesel fuel and so forth. When it comes to hiring a contractor to build trails, then we need funding for that. We need cash dollars to pay them. So there are federal programs which I believe come from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act of 2021. They extend for 5 years through 2026. So it's federal money. It's administrated here in Arizona by Arizona State Parks. So they are the people who review the applications and make the payments to grantees. So we have a $150,000 grant pending to complete the trail over Strawberry Mountain. That's 6.5 miles. It's planned, it's laid out. It was laid out 6 years ago, but practically speaking, with volunteers, we really can't camp out up in the mountain and work 40 hours a week the way a contractor would do. So it's great to have funding coming in July of this year to hire a contractor, a commercial contractor, to go up there and build that trail. But that's just one piece of a much larger picture. There's another $400,000 of grant funding coming to Payson for the Boulders area, both to fix existing trails and to build new trails. So the overall impact of over $500,000 of grant funding, all coming at the same time later this year, I think it'll be substantial. In the next couple of years, we'll see more new trails here than we've seen for a long time.
So with these grants, have you seen, or has it been a case where all of the volunteer hours and the contribution from the Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction Group and the commitment, has that made a difference in receiving grants? Is that something that's looked at? Do they look at groups that are very active?
It's certainly looked at. These grants require roughly a 5% local match, which can be dollars or it can be in-kind volunteer labor. So our intention on Strawberry Mountain is to do in-kind labor. We'll help the contractor on the approaches and so forth. So yes, they do look at track record. They make sure that all the federal compliance has been done. That means you do an an archaeological survey to make sure no ruins are being disturbed. You call in the wildlife people to make sure no endangered species are being harmed. And when all that clearance is done, then the road is open to apply for a grant that's shovel-ready, meaning when the money comes, we have permission to start building it.
I think this approach, it's wonderful because there's a real buy-in. There's a buy-in and
Absolutely.
investment by the community members, Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction, all of the volunteers, board members, everyone associated with the group. And then, utilizing grants and bringing in those contractors. So it's not just one or the other. It's not like you're just sitting back and, like, hey, well, we need money for this, we need money for this. No, you're out there doing it, getting a lot of it done, but also to do it to the extent that it needs to be done. You realize you can't just do it all on your own. You need those contractors, you need the grants and some funding to help.
It's good to have both options. Our volunteers work maybe 30, 40 hours a month. A contractor works 40 hours a week, so that they can move 5 times faster than we can. It's nice to see things get built promptly in a hurry. We have the advantage of taking our time, adding some extra nice touches as we prefer to do.
And having some social time.
Absolutely,
It's important. It's important.
It is,
Well,
yeah.
because you want to make it fun, enjoyable for the volunteers. It just can't be work, more trails, more trails. So, and it sounds like you're doing a great job of that because you've grown. I mean, when you are growing in volunteers and you go from 7 or 8 regularly to now 20, it means you're doing something right. I mean, you're taking care of them. They're having fun when they're out there. And even though, as you said, one gentleman said, hey, this is a lot like work.
I always say it's fun, hard work.
Yeah. Well, it's rewarding.
It's rewarding,
It's
very much,
rewarding, and especially, as you said, Michael, there is a combination of full-time residents and part-time residents, but it sounds like it's a case of residents that are saying, hey, this is our community, and we want to contribute, we want to help out.
We've even had visitors show up who were on vacation from Michigan or wherever and heard about it and decided to show up and help us. They helped us build the interpretive trail around the Pine Trailhead.
Well, talk about a great experience. I mean, it really is, and then you get to learn too. Maybe you have experience, if they're visiting the area and they have experience in trail building, or if they have an interest, because there is now a lot of knowledge. That's really, a lot of knowledge and expertise has been built up within your group, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
And, to walk these trails after we've built them, I mean, it's such a feeling of accomplishment. So, a lot of friendships have developed from this group.
We've had some formal training courses. We had one a couple of years ago at Payson Ranger District in trail layout. So we have several people who are qualified to do that.
Oh, that is great. So again, if you're interested at all in volunteering, there are a few different ways that you can get in touch with Joan with Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction. Again, the easiest way, probably the website, psfuelreduction.org, and the email address is on there. You can reach out to her. I'm sure there's a phone number too on there. Is there a phone number anywhere?
The general phone number for fuel reduction is 602-842-1955.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, it is just a great organization. And also another way that you get funds and raise funds, awareness, are through different races. Pine Trail Run, I believe the one that is coming up here in
May 10th.
May, okay. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. There's 3 options if you're going to do the Pine Trail Run. There's a 5K run, there's a 10-mile run, and then if you're really into it, there's a 50K.
Oh, you have to be
Yeah,
really
I know.
into it. Wow, 50K.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And registration is open now, and if you want to get a free shirt or technical running cap, you need to register by April 27th. And it is limited to 100 runners in each of those categories. And the fundraising that results from these events goes to building more trails. And we're also looking for sponsorships from different businesses, and, you know, we market your business on flyers and information about the events.
Mhm. And I see some sponsors from last year's event. Again, I'm on the website, and if you look under events, there's Pine Trail Run right at the top, and you have the different sponsors, Lodge at 5600, LRW, Works, Uncle Tom's Convenience Store. Also, different organizations that help put the event on, like Pine Strawberry CERT, Tano Amateur Radio Association, Gila County Emergency Management Communications. So it's great to see all these different organizations coming together to put on the event.
Sure. And some of those, like Search and Rescue,
Mhm.
use our event as a training event for their group. So, you know, it's more controlled than, you know, just they have to go out and find somebody, but this is controlled, so they do use it as a training event.
Mhm.
And then our other event that's coming up in September, the third Saturday of September, is the Fire on the Rim mountain bike race. And there again, there's 3 options. You can ride 15 miles, 30 miles, or 45 miles. And with the creation of our new trails,
Mhm.
there's much more single track that these mountain bikers are on, and that's what they live for.
Mhm.
So there's less
Yes.
riding through the streets of Pine and staying
Uh-huh.
on the trails that much more.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And then another one of your big events, a yard sale.
Oh, yeah.
Your annual yard sale in the Red Barn there in Pine, right?
Yeah, we'll have one coming up in the spring and in the fall.
Okay.
I don't know what the dates are yet, so.
All right, and you can find out those dates again on the website, psfuelreduction.org, or also your Facebook page probably as well. You put all that information out there too.
And, you know, we talk about volunteers for building trails, but
Mhm.
we need a lot of volunteers for these events. So if you're not, you know, up for going out on trails, we need people to help with registration. We have merchandise for sale. There's food servers that are needed. There's course marshals that are stationed at different intersections or places on the trail to guide the runners or the mountain bike riders. So lots of volunteer opportunities. It's a great way to meet people and get involved in the community.
And you don't have to live up in Pine or Strawberry. You have a
No,
lot
not
of
at
people
all.
coming up from
We
Payson
do,
or
Oh, yeah.
other communities. Yeah. No, that is great. And I love on the website, it has healthy forests, healthy communities. That's, yeah, really good, really good. Well, anything else in the final couple minutes here that you'd like to add that we might have missed today?
Well, I'd say this is kind of a golden era of trail building. There have been times in the past when we didn't have clearance to work on new trails. That's all opened up in the past year, so we are on a roll.
Yes, and with that, I really want to thank a few people with the Forest Service.
Yes.
Matt Machurik, Angie Abel, others that, oh my goodness.
We couldn't do it without them.
No, they've really been a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
Because in the past, maybe there wasn't the same level of effort from, you know, Forest Service personnel that there has been with the people that are in there now. And,
Yeah, we've got the best team. No.
yes, oh yeah, yeah, they really are, and Matt, Angie, everyone else with the Forest Service, if you're watching or listening, we appreciate you so much. Never leave, please. Do not leave. Well, thank you again, Joan, thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Chris. We
No,
appreciate it.
You are very welcome. Thank you, everyone listening and watching this morning. Also, a big thank you again to One Tom Plumber for sponsoring our KRIM Community Spotlight program. Time to get back to the music now with some ZZ Top, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Robert Palmer, and more. But first, let's get a quick update from the National Weather Service, and you guys have a beautiful rest of your day.
With this morning's KRIM weather forecast.
Okay, rock and roll.
Yeah.